driving northwest out of the city of Mariupol, which came under shelling this morning. We heard ourselves loud explosions at different times, and there's been shelling reported and gunfire reported at the port of Mariupol as well, which is clearly a key strategic target. That city sits right on the Sea of Azov, next to Russia. We spoke to a high-ranking commander at the Coast Guard in Mariupol, and he told us that he could see Russian warships in the Sea of Azov seemingly approaching towards him, and that they hadn't fired yet at the stage. We've spoken to him that if they did so, they would fire back. They were going to fight to defend the city. So clearly a very worrying situation there indeed. It's only 20 kilometers from the former front lines surrounding those separatist-occupied areas in the Donbass, Russian-backed and full of Russian troops now as well, we believe, according to France 24 sources. And people had been fearing some kind of attack, and they reported, several eyewitnesses reported shelling coming from the eastern suburbs of Mariupol. That is, as we head towards that front line, that line of contact there towards the occupied, Russian-backed occupied areas.
And as you said, you're on the road leaving that city. Give us a sense of what it is you've witnessed this morning since you've been travelling. Have you passed through villages where other people too are now trying to flee?
Yeah, we've seen a few people taking to the roads and long lines outside petrol stations buying cars. Some just know where they're going to head, but they wanted to get in line, and this panic is perhaps starting to set in now. We've seen people staying relatively calm, perhaps not even believing the warnings that these attacks, invasion was going to come, but now it's hitting home. So people are at the last minute rushing to prepare. There have been long queues as well outside banks to get cash. Reports of big queues as well inside pharmacies and drugstores, people trying to buy medicines they may need. We spoke to one old lady in a village through here, because it's not just in the big towns where people are making these last-minute preparations. One old lady who said she stocked up her bomb shelter in the basement under her house with bread, dried bread, food that she could conserve. You know, this is something people have known has been coming for a while. And so some of them have taken these threats seriously. Other people, as I said, perhaps not choosing to believe that it would actually come, but now it is hitting home, and people reacting clearly to these attacks.
And Catherine, just finally, you may have heard that soundbite we played from Volodymyr Zelensky, the Ukrainian president, a few moments ago. He there calling on Ukrainians who could to take up arms against the incoming Russian forces. I mean, have you seen any evidence of that or any willingness by Ukrainian civilians to fight?
We have seen willingness expressed by Ukrainians in the past few days, saying that they would stay and fight their city. We've seen people who say they're enlisting, that they're joining the reserve, that they're volunteering. So we'll have to wait to see how this materializes in terms of numbers, because, you know, people are often telling us, you know, pro-Ukrainian people, there are people who are sympathetic to Russia, especially in the east of Ukraine, so close to the border there, and there are obvious links, you know, cross-border links with families, you know, nearby. But the people who are pro-Ukrainian say they've been galvanized. We'll have to wait and see how many of them actually do turn out to fight, if that is what unfolds next, because they say they're proud of the Ukrainian army, that it's become a lot more professional, a lot stronger in the past 8 years since the conflict in 2014, when it was very chaotic indeed. But they know they are clearly outnumbered by the massive might of most of Russia's army around its borders. So there's been a lot of fighting talk and a lot of heroic words, and we'll have to wait and see how people react. I think they don't even know themselves necessarily until they're faced with the situation. And it'll be interesting to see if there is a fight, where that fight is put up, and how long it can last.